project data and numbers. So let me go through and finish these with you real quick. So this is where we started yesterday. So we got to the point, we read example 2, and we had to split it into 2 categories. So we had canoeing, no canoeing, swimming, no swimming, and then we had the total number of kids, which they told us in the first sentence. There are 150 children at summer camp, so that is my total down here in the corner. So as you go through, you have to read it and figure out where the numbers are going to go. 71 signed up for swimming. So where would 71 go? Total number of swimming. So 71 kids signed up for swimming, so that is the total number of swimming. So that's how you read the two-way table. There were a total of 62 children that signed up for canoeing. Yes? I don't know. Here's just going to copy. Okay, 62 children that signed up for canoeing. So where's 62 going to go? That is the number of children that signed up for canoeing. Total under canoeing. That is the total number of kids who signed up for canoeing. So 62. 28 of them also signed up for swimming. So 28 of those canoeing kids also signed up for swimming. Seriously? I get started talking and then I get interrupted again? That's why I asked if anyone needed a copy. Okay, so 28 also signed up for swimming. So that's going to be canoeing and swimming. So 28 out of those 62 kids that signed up for canoeing also signed up for swimming. And they don't tell me any other information. So what they give me, I have to fill in the rest of those boxes. So how can I find no canoeing? The number of kids who did swimming but no canoeing. 71 minus 28. Take the total number of kids that did swimming minus the number that did canoeing, and that will give you the number of kids that did no canoeing. So everyone grab a calculator because you're going to need it later anyway. Guys, not okay. Dawson, not okay. Okay, well, I didn't, and it's my classroom, so. Seriously? Okay, so 71 minus 28, which is 43. So 43 kids who did swimming did not do canoeing. Now let's figure out what other box can we figure out.
The total.
Yep, total that did no swimming, canoeing and no swimming. So as I look at this, how can I figure out the number of kids that did canoeing, no swimming? $62 minus 28. 40 what? 34. Okay? So I'm filling in those boxes. Let's see where else I can go. What else can I find? Total number of people for what? No swimming. So I had 150 total kids. 150 minus 71. 79. So we're just going through and it's kind of common sense. You can kind of go through and fill in the rest. You don't have to put the subtraction things. I'm just showing it so you go back and look. You see what I'm subtracting. Okay, how can I find number of kids that did no canoeing and no swimming? 79 minus 34, which will give me 45. Yep, and then 43 and 45 gives you a total for no canoeing. So the total number of kids that did not do canoeing. So 88. Okay, questions on that? Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the next page. We are going to be creating a relative frequency table. You're going to do the same sort of thing, but you're going to have to take it one step further. So the data from 50 students is shown in the following two-way table. The students were asked whether or not they were taking a foreign language and whether or not they were taking a sport. The following two-way table shows the data. So as I look at this, this is just what we did. They give me this information in a two-way table, just like we got done doing. So what we need to find is we need to find the relative frequencies by row and column for the two-way table above. So what you're doing when I say relative frequency, I want to know the percentage of something happening. So what is the percentage of kids that took a foreign language and played a sport? What is the percentage of kids that took a foreign language and did not play a sport? Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking at. So first thing we're going to do, and we're going to have to do it by row and column. So first thing we're going to look at the number of kids that took a foreign language and played a sport. And there are two things I'm going to compare it to. I'm going to have to compare the 14 to the total number of kids that played a sport, which is 24, and the total number of kids that took a foreign language, which is 37. So to find your relative frequency, all you do is divide it. So we're going to take 14 divided by 24. So you're going to have two frequencies comparing them to the two different totals. The total of kids that played a sport, which is 24, and then the total number of kids that took a foreign language, which is 37. So just plug it in your calculator, round to two decimal places. 14 divided by 24. Yep, 58%. Move the decimal 2 to the right, 58%. So we're looking for percent. So that was the percent of kids who played a sport out of the total kids who played a sport. Now we need to take that 14 and compare it to the other total, which is what? 37. And then 14 divided by 37, 38%. So the math isn't hard. You're taking each part and you're comparing it to the total. Okay, and let's look at the who did not play a sport. So we're going to take 23 and compare it to both of our totals. So if we look at my column first, the total for the kids who did not play a sport was what? How many total kids did not play a sport? 26. So we compare it to that total first. 23 divided by 26. 88%. That's my column part. Now I have to do the total with the row. So as I look at the total for the row, it's going to be 23 divided by total for the row. We did the total for the column. Total for the row is what? What? No? The total for the, I'm right here in this box, in this cell. So the total for that row is what? So it's 23 divided by 37. So 23 divided by 37, what is it? 62%. Now your total is always going to be 100 or 1, 100% or 1. It doesn't really matter which one you put. So your total column is always going to be 100%.
Wait, for all of them?
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we just write it down on all of them?
Huh?
Do it.
We will. We just haven't got there yet. Okay, so now let's go ahead and find the percent for the number of kids that played a sport and did not take a foreign language. So we're going to take that 10 and compare it to both of the totals. So let's compare it to the total in the column first. So what is the total for that first column?
24.
So 10 divided by 24?
0.41.
Okay, round it.
0.42.
Okay, percent? 42%. Now let's take the 10 and compare it to the total in the row, which is going to be 13. So 10 divided by 13, 77%. So the math isn't hard. You're just dividing it out, but you're taking it and you're comparing it to both the total in the row and the total in the column. Okay, now let's look at the number of kids that did not play a sport and did not take a foreign language. So that is 3. Let's compare it to the column total first, which is going to be what? 26. So 3 divided by 26.
12%.
Not 12%. I think is it 12%?
Yeah.
Okay, I rounded it wrong. Sorry, 12%. And then we're going to take the 3 and compare it with the row total. And the row total is what? Mm-mm.
37.
13. Yeah. 3 divided by 13, which is 23%. And my total for that last column is always 100. Okay, now as I look down, we have to find this percent. So now I have 24, and what is the only total that I can compare that 24 with?
24.
50. So we're going to compare that 24 to the 50. So 24 over 50, which is 48%. So that tells me the total percent of kids that played a sport. So 48% of the total number of kids, so 24 out of the 50, played a sport. So 48% of kids played a sport. Next one we had was 26. 26 kids did not play a sport. So we're going to compare it to the total, which is 26 out of 50, which is 52%. So that tells me that's 52% of the kids did not play a sport. And then we're going to have 100 here. Do what? Well, yeah. Oh, well, let me look. I want to look and see what you have done. So, example 1. What is the relative frequency of students that take a foreign language and play a sport to all students taking a foreign language? So, it tells you what 2 things you need to compare. So, guys, pay attention. What is the relative frequency of students that take a foreign language and play a sport? So what is the number of students that take a foreign language and play a sport? Look at your two-way table, the top one. What is the number of students that take a foreign language and play a sport? 14. And I want to compare that to all students taking a foreign language. So what is the number of students that take a foreign language? 37. So it tells you what 2 things to compare. The number of kids that take a foreign language and play a sport compared to all the students taking a foreign language. And you just divide it out. 14 divided by 37, 38%. What is the relative frequency of students that neither play a sport nor take a foreign language to all students that do not play a sport? Okay, so let's see. What is the relative frequency of students that neither play a sport nor take a foreign language? So what is the number of students that neither play a sport nor take a foreign language? 3. Divided by comparing that to all students that do not play a sport. 26. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. 3 divided by 26, 12%. Okay. So a two-way table and a frequency table kind of allows me to look at the data and kind of find out some information about it. And that's what we're going to be doing with the project. Okay. So keep those out if you need those out. And then let me go ahead and show you how to kind of apply this with your project.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.